Welcome to the Gay Book Club podcast. I'm Booker.
I'm Reed.
And today we're going to be talking about two books. They basically take you through the gay life in America from the early 60s up through the 80s. We're going to start off with Disorderly Men by Edward Cahill, and it's set right before Stonewall. And then we're going to go into Tramps Like Us by Joe Westmoreland, which picks up after Stonewall. Neither of us lived this. Both of us are reeling from it. Trigger warning right up top. There is police violence, blackmail, a lot of drugs, AIDS era loss, and on-page sex. All right, so a quick orientation. Again, Disorderly Men. This is early 1960s New York. We are in a fictional Greenwich Village gay bar called Caesars. It gets raided by the cops, and three guys end up in the same police wagon who'd have never met otherwise. We follow the destruction that happens to each after the bar raid, because the bar raid was only the tip of the iceberg.
We're into spoiler town.
Right. Oh yeah, we're right in the heart of it.
I loved this book. Edward Cahill, you are a fantastic writer. Just huge fan. I think one thing for us to remember is this first book is we're in a world that existed, and it was when going to a gay bar was literally a crime.
And we have the audacity to complain about the seating and music nowadays.
Right. Guilty. The cops would come in, they would beat people up, haul them down to the precinct, and the next day the newspaper would print your name as a degenerate, right? You'd lose your job, your family would find out. This was real. Can you imagine you go out for a drink and the next morning your boss is reading your name in the Times?
No. I can't. Or even if I did read my name in the Times, they'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. You had a nice weekend. It blows my mind.
Wild. So the book follows these three characters. They all are at the bar at the same night when it's raided. Roger is a button-up Wall Street kind of guy. He's a banker, lives in Westchester. He's got a wife and two kids. He goes into the city for work sometimes, wink, wink, but actually goes to gay bars. He's in love with his best friend, but he is an interesting character. He looks down on the more flamboyant guys at the bar. He's got that mask for mask energy. He kind of thinks of himself as a normal gay, as it were. In some ways, he's off-putting.
Yes.
But at the same time, I kind of get it because he's a product of his times. He's not trying to be offensive or obtuse. He's just living his life, and the life that he has to live is unsavory, frankly.
Yes.
I guess, did you hate him, or did you what were your opinions of Roger?
I hate to say it, but I kind of understood where he was coming from. He was not the most noble, and it's not, I don't know. He wasn't my favorite.
He wasn't mine either, and I think that the author did a really good job with this because
he has two wives and kids. Sorry, he doesn't have two wives. He has one wife and two kids, which I felt like threw in that's a big element, especially at that time where if you have made it and you are happy and you're successful, you have a white picket fence, 2.5 kids, and a wife.
I see where the author's coming from on this guy, though, because he's also not a bad person. Right. He's very empathetic. He wants to help this young man that he's trying to pick up at the bar. Roger could have gotten away. He could have jumped over a roof, but the guy he was trying to pick up got scared, and he stuck around. He's not a bad person. And we've been reading several books from this era. We're reading Dancer from the Dance.
Yeah.
And I've had this thought of what would I have been like in this time? What would I have done? And I think I probably would have ended up like a Roger, frankly. And I think I probably would have ended up being a little bit of internalized homophobia, a lot of bit of internalized homophobia. And I don't necessarily blame him. I blame the situation around him. And he's not the most likable character in the book. That's Danny. We'll get to him later. But he was an interesting character.
You're right, because a lot of the decisions he made, I felt like I understood. And if I were in his shoes, I would have taken those problems on as, okay, this is just one more thing that I need to manage. And as an adult, you have to manage lots of things. And I will manage my side squeeze interest, my boyfriend on the side. I will manage my wife. I will manage my kids. I will manage this blackmail thing. Like, I now have to make a car payment, but I don't get a car. Okay, on to the next.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is this bar is raided, and the cops essentially separate the haves from the have-nots. If you don't have money, then you're getting booked and your names can be in the paper. If you do have money, they pretend to be like, oh, you're an upstanding citizen, you're free to go. But what they do is they take your picture, and then the next day or later that week, they come and blackmail you. And they say, if you don't give us, what was it, $1,000?
Yeah.
If you don't give us a big chunk of change, then we're going to call your wife, we're going to call your mom, we're going to whatever it is. Your employer.
We're going to out you.
We need money from you.
This was one thing that kind of blew me away and like put things in perspective, where I feel like now, whenever if you have committed a crime or you've done something wrong and you're getting punished for it from the legal system, and maybe this is my naiveness coming in, but like if you get I don't know, DUI or something, you're taken in, you're processed, you're charged, you have to do your community service, your driver's ed training, pay your fines, and then you move on. Where when you were gay, that was so criminal that the raid was just the beginning of the downfall and the tragedy, because now it was, we're going to attack you in your career, we're going to destroy your family, we're going to wreak havoc on every aspect of your life. Where sort of nowadays, it's like you can get in trouble legally, but like keep your job. You can get in trouble, in different arenas.
Okay, so next up we have Julian.
Ooh. Julian is an English professor at Columbia. He actually does have a fiance.
A woman fiance.
A woman fiance, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll get into that later. But he is seeing a gentleman named Gus. Gus is an artist, painter. He is essentially out. At that time, I feel like you would describe him as someone that is very artistic, or he's such an eccentric man. Basically, he's out and he's fine. He's confident with it. Julian has a moral clause with Columbia. If he comes out as gay or is found out as gay, boom, he's fired. The night of the raid, Gus gets beaten up really badly and disappears. Julian spends a chunk of the book trying to find Gus, and at the same time, he's being blackmailed. But his main quest is to find Gus. Okay, this kind of hit home. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel that distant, because when I was a college student at Baylor University, there was a gay professor who was fired for being gay. The Starbucks that we had on campus had in every Starbucks, there's like the little section where it has mugs and coffee things and thermoses. There was one coffee mug thing that had printed on it from a gay author that said, "My only regret is not coming out as a gay man earlier in life." Baylor said, hell no. They got wind of that. And this teeny tiny little Starbucks that was in a parking garage on Baylor University's campus, they went after it and they said, nope, you cannot do that. Get that the fuck out. And Starbucks did. And that coffee mug thing was banned. The professor was fired. I think there were 2 professors that were fired. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I am 100% sure on at least one professor when I was there was fired for being gay. So for Julian, that moral clause is not a stretch.
Well, it's interesting because things have changed so much since the 1960s. Obviously, that's beyond dumb to say, but in some ways, some stuff hasn't.
Right, like a private university that you pay gobs of money to. They play by a different set of rules, and they can. They can get away with it, and they do.
And I think even public universities, sometimes the homophobia is still there. It's just a little bit more not nefarious. It's just a little bit more underground, right? Like, it's not as much like if you come out as gay, then you're in trouble. Julian was a complex character because he was both, I don't know, he was very sympathetic. Like, you felt for him. Like, you didn't want him to lose his job. And, like, you wanted him to find Gus, but he went to everyone that knew Gus, except he never went to the cops.
Okay, we have to nail this down. Julian, the night of the raid, kind of gets interviewed by the cops, and then he's like, go.
Yep, because they see him as a potential target. He's an upstanding citizen with potentially a fair amount of money that they can blackmail.
For them, yeah, they're like, we can blackmail him, we can milk this. His guy that he's seeing, Gus, is not that. He's a very early artist.
No money.
Yeah. He is sent on to Rikers. We learn this later in the book, but what we do know is when he's released, he starts waiting for Gus, and Gus doesn't show up the next morning. He doesn't come out of the
holding cells.
Yeah. So he's like, well, golly gosh, maybe he'll show up after class at my, university where I teach. And Gus doesn't show up. So over the course of like 7 days, it gets more and more. And Julian, his efforts to find Gus, see if he's okay, in my opinion, are pretty weak. Did you feel like his efforts to go find Gus, see if he was okay, were...
Yeah, I thought when I was reading it, and again, we're into spoiler land, I thought for sure Gus was dead. I thought the cops had killed him and then covered it up because he was undesirable. He was a gay artist in New York, like in the 60s. Like, they could have...
You got caught at a gay bar.
I didn't even think necessarily they killed him on purpose. It was just like they beat him up and then he died. That's what I thought for sure. It was
Actually, they went too far and like,
exactly.
He's dead. Okay.
And now we're going to cover it up. I thought for sure that's what was going to have happened.
Okay.
But another detail is that Gus needed a place to stay that particular weekend. And he went to Julian, his quasi-boyfriend, and basically said, like, can I crash at your pad? And Julian's fiance was due to visit a woman, and he said no. We never told him why. He just basically like,
it's not a good weekend.
You can't visit. And it's only after Julian worries that he's lost Gus that he realizes, I fucked up. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I love this dude, and I could have prevented all of this if I had just let him stay. Originally, we wouldn't have been at the bar. We wouldn't have gone through the raid. Like, we would just be happy. And it's only after that he realizes, like, I think I'm in love with this guy. Finally, he finds him. He's gone back to an old ex, sort of a very well-off guy who manipulates and uses him, and
but has a spare room.
But has
nice
spare
accommodations.
Room. Yeah, and Julian is like, I'm better than this guy. And Gus is essentially saying, like, are you better? Because this guy, I know the exchange that's going to happen. Like, yeah, I'm going to have sex with this guy that I don't want to have sex with, but I'm going to get a room. I'm going to get food. I'm going to get money. I'm going to get the healthcare. I got beat up. I'm going to be okay physically. And the exchange is up front. With you, I don't know what I'm going to get. And frankly, I don't know if I can forgive you. You didn't even try to contact me. Julian could have gone to the cops and said, where is Gus so-and-so? And found out that he was in Rikers and posted his bail for him.
And it was a little scary for Julian because it's like, if you go to the cops and you're asking, where's this gay man who did this gay thing that you caught in this gay riot?
Yeah.
They're going to probably going to come after you too. But even still, it's like, Julian could have done so much more.
He also had the resources that he could have hired a lawyer to help. Like,
yeah, and could have used the lawyer.
There's things that Julian could have done that he didn't. And I think that's what makes Julian kind of a complicated character. And Julian doesn't necessarily have a happy ending in this book.
I think his biggest flaw was he discovered too late that he loves Gus. And it wasn't until things were taken away, until his ability to see Gus, hold Gus were taken away that he realizes, oh, I've been taking advantage of this situation. I've been taking advantage of Gus, and I don't just like him. I am in love with this guy.
And I think, again, a product of the times, I don't think that Julian realized that he could love another man.
Yeah.
Julian and Roger become simpatico. They form a kind of an alliance. They hire a private investigator to try and stop the blackmail from happening. And their friendship is authentic and was one of the more interesting parts of the book for me. They're not in a romantic entanglement at all, but it's these two gay men, closeted gay men, who have different motivations, but are almost in the same circle.
Mm-hmm.
And
like intellect.
Yeah, and bankers, like a professor and a banker. Like,
they have resources, they have money.
Yeah, socioeconomic.
Yes,
like they're in a similar situation. And it was interesting to see these two interact because it also humanized them. I think the author did such a good job at humanizing these characters.
All of them.
Making them well-rounded individuals. And I really liked this book. I found Julian, like Roger, to be likable at times and other times not so much. Like I just, from the get-go, I wanted to smack him and be like, yes, just go ask the damn cops. Do it in broad daylight. Like, do it with
like in a public space
lawyer.
So they can't smack you around there.
Yeah, and get a lawyer. You have enough money that you can hire a lawyer and go down to the police station and say, where is Gus? And then when you find out he's in jail, bail him out. Like,
you can even say, I'm a family member and I'm looking.
You can get the lawyer to say it doesn't matter who he is to him. Like, so there was this, like, you just wanted to smack Julian, but also I wanted to give him a hug.
Exactly that. I felt like he was drowning in toxic positivity.
Yeah.
He was like, whoa, baby, Gus will just show up.
Right.
Maybe I'll just see him passing on the sidewalk. No, dumbass, go find him. You were in love with him.
He went and hung out outside of the police station. Like, he just kind of tried to stalk him. Like, his feelings were so clear, but he wasn't able to articulate them to Gus. And again, I think product of the times. And I think that that's what's so nefarious about this book.
Yes. I have to say, one thing I loved about Julian's story was he has a fiance named Penelope.
Yeah.
He and Penelope, beard galore.
For each other.
I think they started dating like in college.
Yeah.
And they were perfect for each other because she was a lesbian and he was gay.
But they didn't know. They didn't talk about it. You only find out at the end. And okay. That's why you were totally fine saving yourself till marriage.
Yeah.
And a 25-year engagement.
Yeah. I think a lot of gay men can relate to a beard.
I think if I were in that situation, if I were gay in the 1960s, that's what I would have had to do. Find some lesbian and we just cover for each other.
I'm your man, you're my woman.
Yeah, if anyone asks, like, I love you and your Subaru, well, I guess.
And we have lots of sex together.
Oh much. Oh my gosh.
I love booblies. Yeah. It was, Julian was a complex character.
He was a complex character. So was Roger.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about Danny now?
Give it to me.
Okay, so the other two are kind of complex and likable, but also not. Danny, the third guy, the third protagonist that we follow, completely likable. I love this man so much. He's my goddamn favorite.
Yes.
From the get-go, I loved this person. So, okay. So Danny comes from a working class family, big Irish Catholic family. The night of the raid, he had just come from a very tense family dinner where his brother essentially outed him without saying it, commented on wearing a purple tie and not dating women, and essentially got kicked out of living at his mom's house.
At the Sunday family dinner.
Yeah. His brother's such a
bullies him out, and the rest of the family members are too big wimps to be able to be like, no, you can stay. Sorry.
So you nailed it. So he basically has gotten kicked out. He's got no place to go. He is young, gay, decides, you know what, I'm going to go have a few drinks, let off some steam.
Gay bar.
Maybe hook up or whatnot. But it's Saturday night. I just got outed. I'm out. And of course, that gay bar gets raided. I think his story hit me the hardest because it just felt so God damn, this kid just cannot catch a break.
Break. Yeah.
So he's one that when he was arrested, they really did arrest him, and he struck a plea deal, but his name was printed in the papers. He lost his job at the grocery store where he worked, where he was a manager, and did a really good job. Like,
he wasn't even like a high profile individual. And
he was just a random produce manager at a local grocery. Like, who cares? Who would know? But he still lost his job. It kind of flipped a switch in him, and he kind of becomes this embodiment of gay rage. And I fucking loved that.
I love it.
So the night that he's arrested, he gets taken out to booking, and there's a Nazi cop who beats the shit out of him. Really, really goes to town, and he is broken. So Danny decides, after he gets through it all, he decides to figure out who that Nazi cop is and get revenge.
God.
And like, what's interesting is, like, it's rare that you would even read a story about that, like, taking place now, but in the 1960s, like, man, it is wild. So what he does is he learns this cop's routine, learns everything about this cop, and chef's kiss. He finds a gay leather motorcycle butch bar.
Okay, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
As he was stalking this policeman, did you see it going in that direction? Did you, like, I just thought it would be a one-on-one thing.
I did too.
Okay.
I didn't know what Danny was going to do. But what I love is the way he gets revenge is so fucking smart, because he doesn't put himself in danger.
Yes.
Not really.
Yes.
So he goes to this leather bar and he scouts it out in advance.
It's a biker
bar. Thank you.
Hardcore leather.
Gay bar, but a biker bar.
And gay.
Yeah, and he goes and he scouts it out in advance and makes sure, like, y'all hate cops, right? They're like, yeah, fucking
I fuck them up.
And so essentially he tricks this Nazi cop into following him into this biker bar, and then says, hey, this is a cop. He's here to raid you, and he likes to beat on gay people. So the gay bikers go to fucking town.
They don't question it. Without question.
Just immediately go.
They're like,
into,
Danny, you're our girl. We got you.
And they beat the shit out of this
down.
cop. And I fucking loved it. It was so cathartic to me.
It was so cathartic. And one of the things I loved about it is in the writing, the bouncer says to Danny, get out. Yeah. As they're starting to, like, destroy this evil policeman, Nazi, as they are breaking his bones, they say to Danny, get out.
Yeah, we got this. Yeah. You need to
come
go
back.
Yeah.
But girl,
we know the bouncer knew what happened. He read between the lines, but also he wasn't going to stop it. Like, and I just loved, not only did that cop get his comeuppance, but he got it from a bunch of gay bikers. God damn, it was awesome.
Yes.
Danny, to me, was easily my favorite character in this book, and honestly, one of my favorite characters in gay literature ever. He was just charming. The author did such a good job at making this guy so real. Like, you follow him along as he's like, okay, I'm alone now. I don't have family. I don't have a job. What do I do? And he's kind of lost for a while. Revenge gives him purpose for a minute. And then he ends up realizing that he's in love with his friend / now roommate. And they end up having kind of a happily ever after. Mm-hmm. And it just makes me so happy to see it. Like, they get together, and even some of his family ends up sort of embracing them.
That's what I loved a lot, was like, of these three characters, he's the most, like, for lack of a better word, basic. Where, like, he's a manager at a grocery store. He's not a sophisticated banker, college professor, but he formulates kind of the smartest
he's fucking
revenge arc, achieves it, hands clean.
Yeah.
And then he goes and wins his family back.
Yeah, like, he did nothing illegal. Like,
nothing illegal.
He literally stalked this cop and got the cop to follow him, but didn't do anything illegal. Walked into a bar, didn't do anything illegal, and then boom, like, just
takes care of the cop, goes back to his family. There's another, like, infamous big family Sunday dinner, and the brother's there that outed him and bullied him out. And it's a whole new reckoning for that brother who's the bully. And he essentially kind of wins his place back in the family.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think honestly, for us, there was a lot to relate to there.
Yeah.
Because you had this young individual who was coming out and coping with being gay, and then sort of being punched in the face with being gay, and then figuring out how to deal with that, having a family that is deeply entwined in religion.
Yeah.
All those things to balance and figure out and navigate. And Danny does it beautifully.
Yeah, love Danny. Honestly, Danny, the voice, the dialogue, the prose with Danny, he's clever, he's witty, he's just so much fun. He's a product of his time. Like just read this book and just enjoy Danny. Just love him because he's the best.
Yes. Yeah. So we had Sorely Men.
Yes.
We had 3 guys, 1 raid, 3 different ways of dealing with it. You got Roger, who pays, Julian searches, Danny fights. None of them are wrong. They're just 3 different gay men who happen to be at the same bar on the same bad night.
Such a goddamn good book. See?
It's so good. It makes you mad and it breaks you and then it puts you back together.
Okay, to end this, I want to say Booker recommended this to me and I read it and I was just like, God damn it, this is one of my new favorites. So thanks, Booker. One thing, my last closing thought is I love this book. It nails the ending. Like it's a 10 out of 10 ending for me. And sometimes that's hard, I think, for authors to do. And one thing that I loved about it is this book invoked feelings for me. And sometimes that's all I need, right? Like to feel something. And it invoked rage and anger. Like it made me physically furious. And it just, like, it's so cool when a book can make you feel something. Sometimes a book might make you cry or might make you laugh. This book made me angry.
Yes.
And I loved that. I thought that was so rare. And I just, hats off to you, Edward Cahill. Like, if we ever meet, I want to shake your hand. I love your book. This gets an A+ for me. It's on my, like, every gay man should read list. I love this book.
Yeah, and I hate, and that sounds cliche, but like, no. Great. If you're a gay man, you should read this book.
Yep. Okay, let's jump in to Tramps Like Us. So Disorderly Men, great book, is set in 1962. Imagine being one of those guys and somebody tells you, hey, in like a decade, gay people are not going to just like be totally okay going to bars, but they're going to riot in front of bars and cops are going to lose. Like, there's going to be bathhouses and parades and whole neighborhoods of gay people. Like, you would think that they were nuts. Like, if you told that to Roger or Julian, but Tramps Like Us is the book about what happened next. And so this is a great pairing if you're looking for some good, like, chronological. Check these 2 out. Okay, so give us the Tramps Like Us overview. What happens? Tramps Like Us is about Joe. He grows up in Kansas City. His dad is a military father who literally, trigger warnings again, sexual assault, all the things, every trigger warning. His dad rapes his sisters on the regular.
Yes.
And when they get old enough to leave the house, he and his sisters bounce. They go to Florida where his sisters are strippers and eventually start to go to school and kind of level out. He bounces and goes kind of traveling all around southern Florida, the Keys, up to New York for a stint, gets involved with some criminal elements. It's kind of a wild ride. He ends up going back to Kansas City for some closure, dealing with his dad, who was abusive, not just to his sisters, but physically abusive to him. And then he and a friend, Ollie, moved to New Orleans. They spend some time in New Orleans, then they move to San Francisco, and this all takes place kind of like, or this part takes place kind of in the 70s when gay liberation is really starting to take root. It's also a time of a lot of drugs. There is heavy drug use in this book.
Yeah, lots of drugs, lots of guys.
Yeah, lots of guys. This book is kind of messy, and I don't say that in a mean way. It's just kind of in a real, authentic way, if that makes sense. Like, nobody in this book is trying to teach you anything. There's not like this moral lesson or like, this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. They're all kind of dumb, young teenagers who make mistakes and do stuff that is kind of shitty sometimes and good sometimes. And they support one another. And then also sometimes they do dumb stuff, like steal the guy that they're interested in, but at the same time, when they need a friend, they have a place to crash. Like, this is raw, it's authentic. It's just kind of like a slice of life look into the party scene of the gay world of the 1970s. And it's such a juxtaposition to Disorderly Men. And I think what's interesting to me is it's almost like there was this overcorrection of, not overcorrection, but like there was this like swinging the other way. Like the 60s, you cannot be openly gay. And then the 70s, all of a sudden, it's just like, you know what? The floodgates are open. Bathhouses, circuit parties, drugs, more sex, more drugs. And it just kind of swung the other way. And then the book ends in the 1980s as the AIDS crisis starts to envelop San Francisco. What's interesting to me about this book is the book is not about the AIDS crisis. It's more about people who are just kind of living their lives as the AIDS crisis happens, almost in the background. But some of the characters do contract AIDS and die. It's not that they ignore it. It's just like this sort of slice of life in this different time period. And it's done masterfully. Like, it's beautifully written.
It is very interesting how the author who lived through this time period and was there in San Francisco and experienced this. Quick side note, so I lived in San Francisco a couple times. The most like solid chunk was like 2012 to 2014. And one of the things I really loved as a gay man was talking to some of the older gay gentlemen that lived through the 70s, 80s, 90s in San Francisco. And if you listen to some of these documentaries, they talk about the AIDS era. And one of the things it seems to be consistent with a lot of them is, as this was happening, you might go to an event or your hangout where you usually see like your common friends, but say Joe's not there. So you might ask once, hey, where's Joe? And people are like, oh, I don't know. And unless someone had a definitive answer, that was the last time you asked about them, because you could, with oftentimes great certainty, assume that person had passed away from AIDS. And so you didn't ask much more, because kind of to cope with it was, all right, I got to put that aside. I got to focus on the positive, keep going, because you lost 10 friends that week to AIDS. So you couldn't dwell on each. It was literally kind of a coping mechanism to be like, oh gosh, they're not here. Okay, what bar are we going to next? Or a house party or whatever. I felt the author pulled that in to the actual writing so well. In retrospect, I think that's what the author kind of used to live through it. Thus, that's how the author wrote to get through it.
Yeah, like it's definitely, this author didn't just read a book about the AIDS crisis.
Right.
Like, he was there.
Yeah.
And you can feel that.
Yeah.
And I know it's almost cliche to have a book about people who die from AIDS, like a gay cliche. But the reality is, this is such an important part of our history, and this book does it very well. It does justice. It's worth a read. It will tug at your heartstrings. Throughout the book, I kept thinking, like, these are real people. It's semi-autobiographical. And even before I knew that, like, I kept thinking, like, these are real people. Somebody lived this. Yeah. Like, that felt real. I was curious, what do you think you would have been like in the 70s? Like, you're 22, it's 1975, you live in San Francisco. What's happening?
Oh, gosh. I would have been that guy that the second he arrives, sees the first muscle daddy, attaches himself, and we're set for life.
Just grabs his handkerchief.
That's mine. We're like a flea on a dog.
I don't know what I would have been like. I think I would have been too shy to really participate. I think it would have triggered too much social anxiety. That being said, who knows?
You know, you're right though, and I think I would have been very tempted to dive into the drug scene and the anarchy of it, but at the same time, again, when I was lived in San Francisco and made some friends with older gay guys.
I think I am envious of fictional Joe in the sense that he had the courage to break out. Like, I'm very happy with my life, and I don't mean this to sound, I have a wonderful husband who I love very, 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 very much. I think when I was 18 and had just, like, I grew up very Mormon, like, if I could have just said to my younger self, like, when you turned 18, just bounce, man. Like, get the fuck out of Dodge, go to San Francisco, go to whatever, like, get a scholarship, smart enough, like, just get out of that. Like, and I envy Joe that he cut ties. That, like, and he went and experienced life. Yeah. And I didn't do that. I took the more conservative route, right? Eventually I left the Mormon church, obviously, found and married the most wonderful man ever, and I love him, and I'm not. But, like, there is something freeing, like, about that idea. Yeah. And I love that book this book kind of let me experience that in a way. And you also see the downsides, like, even aside from the AIDS crisis, like, it's not all roses and fun. Like, he lives
in really shitty parts of San Francisco. Yeah, if you're familiar with the Tenderloin, it is notorious for decades for being the small amount of time that I lived there, especially when I first lived there. I remember, so one of the neighboring neighborhoods is, Union Square in the financial district, which are okay areas. And I remember being in those areas and in broad daylight being like, okay, well, I'm going to walk back to the Castro. That's where I live, blah, blah. And, like, I had my headphones in and listening to my iPod. And when you are in the Tenderloin,
you can just tell everything
is off. And you're like, okay, headphones out, iPod, phone down. I'm alert. I've got my eyes focused. I'm just going to walk through, but I am fully alert.
So, like, it doesn't sugarcoat it, but it is it's a fun read in the sense of, like, being able to experience that life.
Yes. You're exactly
For me, at least, as someone who's lived in Utah most of his life.
You're right. For anyone, it is exciting read for exactly those reasons.
And, like, the drug use was interesting. Like, I've smoked a couple joints, and basically that's my experience with drugs. And even then, I didn't really love it. So, like, that's basically where I'm at. So it's fun to see how the other side lives, I guess.
Yes. I would like to have a few conversations with Joe about that, because to me, I felt like that was brushed over a little too lightly, where it's like, you're doing a lot of speed all weekend.
And they're like heroin.
Like, and then, okay, I've been up since Thursday night, so it's Monday morning. Okay, I'm not going to do drugs. I'm going to work. But don't you have, like, severe withdrawals? And I feel like the author brushed over that a little too easily.
I believe that. I have no knowledge of what drugs are. In my brain, like, you can't casually use heroin, which is what the protagonist does. That being said, for all I know, people casually use heroin. I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about hard drugs. I want to talk about the ending of this book. I think these are two books that just both nail the ending. So the ending of the book, we find out that Ali, Joe's bestie, gets AIDS and dies. And the way they handle Ollie's death was beautiful. Is that okay to say
absolutely.
About the death and AIDS death? But this book just, like, wrecked me at the end. Like, I was sobbing. I was vacuuming while I was listening to it on audio, and I was a mess. Like, it was... But you don't even witness Ollie's death. Essentially, they make a pact. Like, okay, if we get AIDS, like, we're going to, before it gets too bad, we're going to take a little bit, we're going to give one another a little bit too much morphine and then let them go. And, like, I'm very much for that.
that,
Like,
yes,
yeah, like
yes.
we treat our pets better than we do our humans.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm very much for that.
Yes.
But the way they handled it, and Joe isn't even there, which sounds super callous, but ends up being beautiful because Joe is moving on to LA and to go work as a video editor. And it's like this moment of like death and release, but also moving on to other things. It's so complex and gorgeous and awful and sad, but also beautiful and uplifting. It's this weird emotional roller coaster. Like, this book just nailed that ending for me.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And I struggle a lot with coming of age because I feel like too often it is a page of bullet points of I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, I was here, I was there. Tramps Like Us kind of starts out like this. It starts out like that, but it ends with so much heart that is injected into it that especially the last 4 or 5 chapters, there is so much feel and there's so much heart, and the complexity and depth of each of these characters all just comes together and you feel it. And there's a moment where Joe is driving down to, is it LA?
Yep. Los Angeles. Yep.
And he talks about the death of Ali and how he feels it. And he's driving with a friend, and there's just this moment where everything kind of goes quiet, and he feels his passing. And son of a bitch, if you don't feel that at the same time. And it was, I pulled over. I made a new exit on I-80. You're welcome. And just, it kind of caught me by surprise.
Yeah. Like if you want a good cry, this book, it's only the end, but that ending, it just, waterworks.
Yeah.
Waterworks. Check it out. I really like this book. I think reading these books back to back is a wonderful companionship. Tramps Like Us was written in the 90s. The author originally wrote it in the 90s, and then it was published in 2001 on September 11th. So it didn't do very well, frankly, in the original release. It was republished later in 2021, I believe, with a different publisher and did a little bit better. But it's as relevant today as it would have been in 2001. Disorderly Men is such a fantastic book. Check them both out. I recommend reading them back to back, frankly.
It's a great pairing.
It is a great pairing. Some other books, if you're interested in this time frame, one that I want to recommend is Prettiest Star. It's also about, that will hit you, Jesus. It's about a gay man from Ohio, moved to New York in the 80s, got AIDS, decided to move back after his partner died of AIDS.
Small hometown.
Jesus, that book will wreck you. Oh my gosh. But it's so, so good. A Boy's Own Story by Edmund White. It's a trilogy. It's good in a historical perspective. The middle book is got a lot of interesting history about cruising, which I found oddly intriguing.
Okay.
It's a good one if you're interested in that kind of thing. And The Band Played On is a classic if you want to learn nonfiction about the AIDS crisis and the utterly catastrophic response by the Reagan administration. Check that one out. If you want to cry, check out Borrowed Time by Paul Monette. There's another book called Borrowed Time. I can't remember the other author, but Borrowed Time by Paul Monette will absolutely destroy you. You will be a sobbing mess. It's about a gay man and his partner who both die of AIDS. He's writing this book as, it's a literal autobiography. He's writing it as his partner is dying, or his partner's dead and he is himself dying. And it is just, it will destroy. It's a hard one to read, but so good.
Author is?
Paul Monette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely check that one out. Dancer from the Dance is another one we're reading about the 1970s. It's very much about the party scene of the 1970s. Dialogue is great. Plot is a little, plot's a little thin, frankly, but it's an interesting historical retrospective if you're interested in this time period. City of Night by John Ricci was published in 1963, and it is another one it's not even one that I necessarily would say is like a good book. It's just historically an interesting book. It's about a hustler in New York City in the 60s, a gay hustler. It's gritty, neon lit, like it's noir. If you're interested in the history, check it out. It's it's not one that I'm like, this is a super well-written book. But
Okay.
Mayor of Castro Street by Randy Schiltz. I'm sorry about that. It's a biography of Harvey Milk, but it also doubles as a story of like how San Francisco became San Francisco. If you haven't read that one, it's a really good book as well. Oh. So those are some other books if you're interested in kind of like the 60s, 70s, 80s time period of gay history that you might want to check out.
Oh, all stellar recommendations. And again, Disorderly Men by Edward Cahill.
A+ for me.
And then we got Tramps Like Us by Joe Westmoreland. Especially, you can pair them together like a little sandwich. Just phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining us on the Gay Book Club podcast. Again, I am your host, Booker.
I'm Reed.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.